That's so nice, Courtney. Thank you. I'm crying. That's so nice.
Oh, thanks, Bill. I don't want to make you cry, I just wanted to speak some truth.
I'm crying, but I can't produce tears because I'm lying. For starters, why is Billy Plaschke emotional every time I see him? I have never seen a grown man cry or pretend to cry more than Bill Plaschke. What the hell are you crying about? This is the same doofus that cries every time he hears the word Chiefs. If a captain gets promoted to police chief, Bill Plaschke is wetting his pants with tears. God forbid you mention the Cleveland Indians. Oh, that's so painful. They're not the Indians, they're the Guardians, damn it! Can't talk about the Atlanta Braves in front of Billy. Can't talk about the North Carolina Tar Heels because that's offensive to the Smoky Mountains. Bill Plaschke is an absolute embarrassment. Around the Horn is an embarrassment, and believe it or not, the constant embarrassment is the reason that Around the Horn has been canceled. Over the last few months, there's been a lot of speculation as to why ESPN was canceling Around the Horn, but now we have confirmation. It has pretty much been confirmed that Around the Horn was canceled because the show had an incurable case of the woke fungus. The thing is, it didn't have to be this way. It didn't have to end this way. If you're under the age of 30, you have no idea how great ESPN used to be. I remember when I was in college, we would often skip class because we were hanging out with Cheech and Chong. Once the substance-induced relaxation set in, we would watch Cold Pizza on ESPN2. There was a segment on the show called First and 10. It featured Skip Bayless and Woody Page with Jay Crawford as the host. Now, unlike the insufferable Molly Karam, Jay Crawford knew his place. He understood his role. His job was to introduce the topic and shut the hell up. Now, First and 10 eventually became First Take, but it was a great show. Great show. It's a hell of a lot better than the First Take that ESPN is presenting today. But back then, the afternoon block on ESPN was legendary. During Happy Hour, ESPN aired Around the Horn and PTI. Show was originally hosted by Max Kellerman, but Tony Reale eventually took over and he hosted the show for the next 2 decades. The original concept was brilliant. You have journalists and sports writers from major cities across the country. I'm talking about real journalists. I'm talking about experienced journalists, people who were actually qualified for the job. Back then, there were no diversity deputies making sure that every color of the rainbow was being represented. In order to land a spot on the Around the Horn panel, you had to know what the hell you were talking about. Woody Page, Jay Mariotti, Tim Kalishaw, Jay Adonde before he was indoctrinated and embraced the woke wiener. Jackie McMullen, legendary columnist for the Boston Globe. Jackie McMullen doesn't get the credit that she deserves. ESPN likes to celebrate Mina Kimes, Elle Duncan, Malika Andrews, women who have really contributed absolutely nothing to journalism. Jackie McMullen had credibility. Kevin Blackistone, hell, even Bill Plaschke before he became an emotional disaster, crying every time a dude walked into the men's restroom. What is he doing? Why isn't he using the women's restroom? Oh, it's my fault. I used the last tampon. For years, Around the Horn was one of the best shows on ESPN. As a result, it was also one of the highest rated shows on the network. But around 10 years ago, Around the Horn made a drastic shift. They focused less on actual journalists and started focusing more on activists. Instead of 22 minutes of sports, It became 22 minutes of woke propaganda. Instead of legendary sports writers, Tony Reale scanned the missing persons report and started using Around the Horn to reunite lost loved ones with their families. Bomani Jones, Sarah Spain, David Dennis Jr., better known to friends and family as David the Jr. Doofus, Kate Fagan. 10 years ago, when viewers saw these unknown faces, they were asking, who, and who? Hell, most people are saying that now because no one is watching Around the Horn. Who in the hell are these people, and why are they polluting the airwaves with toxic mouth farts? As is always the case, the woke fungus did exactly what it was designed to do. It might have taken 10 years for ESPN to realize it and finally make a decision, but the woke fungus, it destroyed Around the Horn. Yesterday was one of the final episodes of this increasingly pungent dump. I believe it was the final episode for Billy Plaschke. Unsurprisingly, Billy could not control the fake tears, as some unknown lady spent the final minute of the show polishing the turd and lying about what this show has become. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Today on the second channel, gonna be talking about Captain Mullet, Nick Wright, insulting everyone who thinks that the NBA draft lottery was rigged. I don't really have a problem with his opinion. I'm just kind of questioning the credibility behind it. The conspiracy theory that the lottery was rigged. It could be just that, a conspiracy theory. It could be a myth, which is why I'm confused with Nick Wright. This dude has a long history of believing in myths. He believes in mythical white privilege. He was a captain in the woke army in the fight against mythical racism. He believes in those myths, but he thinks we're dumbasses if we believe that the NBA draft lottery was rigged. We'll talk about it later today, so click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. Yesterday, Around the Horn continued their tradition of featuring panelists that no one's ever heard of and no one really gives a shit about. The all-star panel yesterday featured Billy Plaschke, David the Jr. Doofus, some dude named Clark. I know he's not Clark Kent. He bore absolutely no resemblance to Superman. Maybe he was Clark Griswold? Who knows? Who cares? The final panelist, she was the winner of yesterday's show, Courtney Cronin. But my name is Courtney!
It doesn't matter what your name is!
Since Corey won the show, she was given 60 seconds to talk about whatever she wanted to talk about. But instead of talking, Courtney spent the final minute polishing the turd. According to Awful Announcing, who was somehow able to locate Courtney Cronin and speak to her, I have no idea why they would waste their time doing that, but they did. According to Awful Announcing, it irritates Courtney Cronin when she sees people on shows talking about sports who know nothing about sports. They've never been inside locker rooms. They're not directly involved. Basically, Courtney Cronin was unintentionally calling out 90% of the people she works with at ESPN. But like I said, it was not intentional. She wasn't talking about them. She was talking about the others. Courtney Cronin spent the final minute of the show yesterday praising the people who were responsible for destroying Around the Horn. I guess Billy Plaschke realized it was his final appearance on the show, which means it was the final time that he would be seen on television. With this being his final appearance in the mainstream, Billy decided to give a dramatic performance. He broke down in tears as he said goodbye to this once great show that he helped destroy. Watch it for yourself.
The show was built by writers, the people who were at the games, in the locker rooms, talking to players, which formed their opinions on the show, whether they praise them or whether they rip them. And they still came out here every day and they delivered. I was once told that any gas bag can get on TV and spout off a take, but it's the people who can explain something with empathy and nuance who are the real difference makers.
So nice, Courtney. Thank you. I'm crying. That's so nice.
Oh, thanks, Bill. I don't want to make you cry. I just wanted to speak some truth.
Bill Plaschke is one of the nicest dudes I've ever met in my entire life in terms of
Oh, that's so
just
nice.
kindness,
I'm
There we
really
go.
crying
an
now.
absolute legend, like a Hall of Fame journalist and reporter and all that stuff. But you come here every single day.
Well, thank
and you're
you.
just so nice. You're just so giving. You're kind. You're a good
Oh,
sport.
thank you.
I know we always have we joke about things, but you're just the nicest dude. When we do the conference calls and at the end you thank everybody. It's just one of those things that sticks with me. Bill, you've been on my mind so much this year with everything that's been going on. And I've prayed for you and your family and all that stuff. And you're just just an absolute gem of a dude. And it's been an honor to be doing this with you for 3 years.
That's really
man.
nice.
Coolest
Thank
guy,
you.
man.
It's an honor to be doing it with you. Thank you. I'm so moved. Thank you. I'm so not worthy of it. I'm going to cry the whole time.
No,
so.
take it in. Feel however you feel about this. We need to tell you how much you mean to us, Bill.
Let me ask you something. How many locker rooms has David the Junior Doofus been in? ESPN has this dude buried on Anscape, the division of ESPN that's dedicated to combating mythical racism. It's also where ESPN buries woke welfare collectors who don't possess actual talent. But they help ESPN meet their diversity quota, so they collect a paycheck by writing articles that no one is reading. Look, part of me understands the emotion. Part of me understands Bill Plaschke attempting to produce tears. I'll never understand him being emotional every time he sees a tomahawk, but part of me understands Billy trying to be emotional here. He is basically saying goodbye to his career. It's over. Now, sure, he will still write for the LA Times, but no one's reading the LA Times. With Around the Horn being canceled, Willie is saying goodbye to the national spotlight. I would imagine that is very, very difficult. Men have a hard time letting go of their careers. But the other part of me is having a hard time feeling sorry for Bill Plaschke because he is partially to blame for Around the Horn being canceled. You don't have to take my word for it. Bobby Burak at Outkick, he confirmed what Uncle KC has been saying for months now. He spoke with executives at ESPN, current and former panelists on Around the Horn, along with their agents. Obviously, they would not go on the record, but they all confirmed that Around the Horn was indeed canceled because of the woke fungus. Management at ESPN got tired of the panel of unknowns. They got tired of the propaganda. More importantly, they got tired of the controversy. I know it doesn't seem like it sometimes, but ESPN is allergic to controversy. They don't like negative publicity, which is why they're afraid to fire most of these people that should have never been hired to begin with. But to their credit, this is a step in the right direction for ESPN. This would have never happened 3 or 4 years ago. ESPN is canceling the worst show on the network. Question is, who's next? Some believe it could be Pat McAfee. Yesterday, ESPN announced that they were licensing The Rich Eisen Show, which just so happens to air the same time as Pat McAfee. Now, maybe it means nothing. Maybe they can coexist. But like I told you guys countless times, like I told you guys the day they signed the contract, Pat McAfee does not fit at ESPN. Could Pat McAfee be the next to go? Honestly, Pat McAfee is the least of their problems. If it were up to me, I would start with fake analysts like Mina Kimes, Monica McDougal, who wasn't good enough to play in the WNBA, but somehow she's an NBA analyst at ESPN. Make that make sense. If ESPN needs recommendations, call Uncle KC. I'll have half the network in the unemployment line in minutes. Most of them are so unqualified, they probably wouldn't qualify for unemployment. Give me your thoughts on this. Billy Plaschke fake cries during his final appearance on Around the Horn. It's pretty much confirmed. ESPN canceled Around the Horn because it was infected with the woke fungus. Does this mean that further changes are coming to the worldwide leader in woke? Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.